What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. Alright, so in this video, I want to do a review of Chris Rock's Netflix comedy special. I believe it's his first comedy special with Netflix, Selective Outrage, which was filmed in Baltimore. It was the first live streamed event, I believe, in Netflix history. Now, of course, there was a lot of interest in this event because in this special, Chris Rock will be addressing in public, in detail for the first time, what happened last year in the Oscars when actor Will Smith, slapped the shit out of him. Okay? And he did address it, especially toward the end. Although he made teasers about it, before that, saying things like, I don't need another rapper mad at me. Anybody who says words hurt, never been hit, punched in the face, and things like that. The material, to me, I thought was greatly influenced by Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle is a comedian now who has successfully branched the races. He's a comedian that is acceptable to both black and white audiences as he talks about race, religion, gender, politics, sexuality. He talks about these different issues in a way that he's acceptable to both black and white audiences and other audiences, right? Chris Rock, on the other hand, it's just my opinion, he comes across as black shaming to me. I mean, most of his jokes are at the expense of the black community. When he talks about, he's essentially saying, like, in the end, when you go to neighborhoods where the women are at home, you're in a good neighborhood versus when you go to a neighborhood and the men aren't working. And people, I think, predominantly sense that he's talking about black neighborhoods because there's been a growing sense of black women are kind of increasingly becoming in control of black communities. You know what I'm saying? Increasingly are becoming the head of the household. And then he makes other jokes about OJ, Michael Jackson, jokes that to me, especially with Michael Jackson, I don't find true. I don't think Michael Jackson ever was found guilty of, dilly-dallying with kids. I think it's a lie. But he goes with it. And there's other jokes that he makes that I think are at the black community's expense. As far as quality of jokes and how funny they are, I mean, he's hit or miss. There's some jokes that he put out there that I thought were funny. I thought the joke about Robert Kardashian being cursed by God, the kid, the daughters fucking niggas and all that, that was funny. But, he, to me, Chris Rock's humor is just not as crisp or it's just not as clever as Dave Chappelle. When I'm hearing him and Dave Chappelle, like, I don't know, for some reason when I hear him, I'm hearing someone trying to mimic a little bit Dave Chappelle, and it's just not quite as clever. And in the end, he addresses the Will Smith matter and said that Will Smith chose Selective Outrage because why didn't he keep the same energy for other people? I mean, look, the thing of the shit, this is the heart of the matter to me. Will Smith he slapped Chris Rock because he snapped. I think he snapped. I think he was holding it together, trying to keep a straight face. But I think the situation, seeing his wife, disappointment in her face at that joke, and I do still think the joke was in poor taste because it wasn't that she shaved her head for a role, like Demi Moore or someone else. She lost her hair because of a disease. Now let me ask you this. If a joke is a joke, right? What would be the reaction if Chris Rock made a joke about, say, let's say he made a joke about Angelina Jolie and she was bald, but she was going through chemo. And he made a joke about her bald head. For some reason, I feel like a lot of people would not be taken up for Chris Rock in this situation. They're taken up for him. They'd be like, this joke is in poor taste, yada, 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 blah, 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 yakety schmackety, you know. But, you know, all in all, I mean, if I had to give it like a number, maybe a 5.5, maybe. It wasn't the funniest. It wasn't the most unfunniest stand-up I ever heard, but it wasn't rip-roaring hilarious either. So, I mean, I guess I'd give it a 5.5, but that's just me. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you found it hilarious. But Chris Rock, you know, his humor, to me, I think that Chris Rock is funniest to me in sketches and things like that. You know what I'm saying? In sketches and in certain movies, when it's a good script, I think he could be very, very funny. I kind of put him in the same category as a Mike Epps. Not to say he hasn't been funny in the past. Bring the Pain, that was very funny. Bigger and Blacker, what was that, 99, I think? That was very funny. But increasingly, over the years, Chris Rock is... And Town Biz, shout out to him, he's been saying this too. Chris Rock has increasingly been throwing the black community on the bus in jokes. And he does it with no hesitation. And we saw it again with this comedy special. Whereas Dave Chappelle would poke fun at both communities or all communities. And he never goes full throttle and shitting on the black community. Chris Rock has no qualms or trepidations about doing that. But anyway, that's just my thoughts on it. Tell me what you guys think.